I can't remember where it happened. I can't remember when it happened, and I can't remember what I exactly tripped over. But I apparently tripped over something circa 2014, about maybe 3-4 years after Bob's Burgers made its debut on Fox. I inadvertently tripped and apparently ended up in a multiverse where a lot of people actually really like this damn show because
Yeah.
like you remember, am I crazy, the first like 3 years this thing was on, it was a punching bag and the ratings weren't great.
3 to 5 years. Yeah, something like that.
American, and the funniest part is American Dad was the same way, in the
Yes.
same way back when it started.
I always was a fan of it. I was
The
OG.
first several seasons of it, it was one of the most lampoon show. Everybody wanted, at least growing up like 11, 10 years old, everybody was talking about Simpsons and Family Guy at the bus stop. Nobody, anytime people brought up American Dad, was to say, man, this show sucks, it's such a copy, as if Family Guy wasn't a direct copy of The Simpsons.
Mhm.
But like, now all of a sudden, I don't know, because it feels like it was even before streaming that these shows became on demand, that like everybody now, Bob's Burgers has a legion of fans, evidently enough to justify a theatrical production. It beat Family Guy to getting a movie.
That's true. That's
Think
very
about
true.
that for a minute. Think about that. I brought that up to the woman I work with who's a big fan of Bob's Burgers. I said it beat Family Guy. And that's part of the reason that McFarlane just doesn't want to take time off to do a movie and stuff, even though he wants to. And she was like, I always thought Family Guy had a movie. But it never did, never a
It
theatrical
has
movie.
like specials, like Stewie and Brian specials or whatever, but never, yeah, never a
The
full fledged
closest
movie.
thing it had was that Stewie Griffin The Untold Story, which they
Right, right.
marketed as a direct to DVD movie, when in reality it's 3 episodes, and even they air those 3 episodes individually on TV.
Yeah.
So it's not even really a movie. The closest thing I guess you would argue then is probably the Star Wars TV specials.
You're right. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what the feeling people get, at least through osmosis, where it's like they think that there's a movie out for Family Guy, but nothing concerted like Simpsons and Bob's Burgers.
And it's part of the animation domination block on Sunday nights on Fox, Bob's Burgers. And like I said in my review, not only did Bob's Burgers run while other like Fox animated misfires like Alan Gregory, Sit Down, Shut Up, Napoleon Dynamite, remember those?
Hmm.
Where those shows couldn't even walk for a full season. It beat McFarlane to the big screen, and that's a real accomplishment. And I'm gonna say too, I had never watched a single damn
Nope,
minute
me neither.
of a single minute of Bob's Burgers, and can actually pinpoint the mutual friend of ours from the radio station days, from the Wonk days.
Yeah.
She came dressed. I don't
Who
know if
was
you
this?
were
Because I
there.
think you cut out for a second, just for a couple seconds. But who?
I'm not going to name her.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
not
that's
going to
sorry,
name.
sorry.
I'm
That's
not
good.
going to
That's good.
name. I'm not going to name her. I'm not. I was never close friends with her, but she came at the
Tina? Did you say
Halloween party.
Tina?
Yeah,
Your microphone's cutting in and out, but yeah, Justice. I think I know who you're talking about, and yeah, that's actually kind of when it hit me too, because I also have a friend. I want to get situated there, but I also have a friend who's like, all of a sudden she just became not became. Obviously, it probably happened in the background before this. I'm not saying she's jumping on a bandwagon or anything, and she is an OG fan of the show. But it's like, yeah, one day it's like everyone became a fan of this show, and it wasn't even like it doesn't even like an explosion of fandom. It's just like, oh yeah, I like Bob's Burgers. Oh yeah,
a
my
very
profile picture says,
slow,
yeah.
gradual type of build for this
And
show.
then it just happened one day where I just, that's probably what it is, that we just noticed it one day. But looking at this movie, going to the movie now, I think I think I do get the appeal. There are some gripes I have with it, but here's my first question, and obviously you can't answer this, but is the regular show a musical? Like, do they have a song that? No, I think this is exclusive
I
to the
think
movie.
occasionally, because here's the thing, I did download the album on Apple Music, the movie
Movie
soundtrack, just
soundtrack.
to hear those couple songs again, because I did like the
I
songs
I
in
listened
this
to them on
movie.
Spotify on the way back. Yeah.
I've played Lucky Ducks probably about 5 or 6 times, but and even Sunny Side Up is Summer
Hmm.
is a very fun song, but the show does feature enough music to justify 2 albums and a Christmas EP.
Wow.
Whether or not those songs are in the show, I would assume they are. I don't think every episode's a musical, but I do think the music is incorporated.
I think it's kind of like Family Guy, how they have a litany of songs about, like the FCC song, the the bag of weed song or whatever.
Family Guy's got some irreverent songs that never made it on the show on their first album. I don't know if you my favorite Family Guy song was never in an episode, but it's got the whole family singing. It's a 6-minute song. It's called All Cartoons Are Fucking Dicks.
That sounds.
You got to listen to that. You got to listen to that because each character of the show has an interaction they talk about and sing about with a cartoon, and they talk about how like a bad celebrity encounter, like Magilla Gorilla.
Oh, that's clever. That's
and it's
or at least
very
meta.
and I remember Peter talks about meeting Barney from the Flintstones. Like it's priceless. But yeah, this movie is technically a musical, but there's only 4 songs. There's
Three
only
and a half
4
songs, I would say, because during that, I think it's a villain song. The villain just starts talking, and then they go back to conversation. So yeah,
And the villain song is the only song not on the album.
I did notice
because
that
of
too.
because of spoilers, they said.
Oh, that's a good point, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. But let me just say that one of my big criticisms with this movie is that I wish there were more. I wish they had gone in more with the music.
I wouldn't have minded a couple more.
Yeah, at least, not like every like 10 songs, but like up the number to 5 or 6. And I'd totally be cool with that because there's like long gaps where there could be more music, long gaps where I thought that plot point was going to have a song. I was kind of expecting it after that blowout first one, which I really much enjoyed. But after that, it kind of stops, and then I think it goes to Lucky Ducks. But it's a testament kind of to how likable these characters really are, because as you said, we don't have an established relationship other than just the cultural, osmosis. But for me, I fell in love with these characters right away because they're super relatable. The whole basis of the story is that, hey, we're just trying to make rent and pay our loan back, and if that ain't the universal, if that ain't the kind of the same thing that they've done with Simpsons, where it's like lower middle class family, you go back to Roseanne or just any story ever, they're just trying to make rent, and that's really the heart of it. Actually, no, that's kind of not the heart of it. That's the underlying heart of it. The big heart of it is the murder mystery that they're trying to figure out too, which kind of takes over. But I honestly don't mind it because it's very grounded in the way Family Guy isn't. Family Guy, past when Mr. Weed died, and as you can tell, we're really referencing Family Guy and other shows here because
That's what we know.
Haven't watched the show. But after Mr. Weed died in like the second season, I don't know anymore. Or really, you could even say once the show came back. Once
the second season,
second
I believe,
season.
when he choked and died.
Yeah, exactly. After the second season, whatever season they went off the air from Fox and then came back through Adult Swim. After that, it kind of took a change where they just started getting more and more irreverent, more and more cutaways, more and more of this. And we're not going to dissect Family Guy, but it's refreshing to have a show or at least a movie where it's, hey, this is the family, and we're just going to get to know their problems. And I'm sure there's a lot of shows that are doing this right now, but specifically within the purview of Simpsons, which has its own host of modern day problems, and Family Guy, it is nice to have that grounding, and it's very much refreshing and heartwarming to see all that come together later on, because it pays off. It's not heavy-handed when they do it. It is very relatable, and those songs, man, they're super 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 catchy.
Yes, no, I agree. It is definitely, you took it a little different angle than I initially thought, but I agree with what you're saying. I think the thing that I really liked about it, that the main thing I liked about it is that unlike The Simpsons or Family Guy, and it's always the daughter. Lisa's the punching bag. Meg is the easy punching bag. Lisa doesn't get it as bad as Meg, but Lisa gets brushed off a lot. There's little to no infighting with the Belcher family.
No.
And I didn't expect that. Yeah, I thought for sure going into this that I'm like, okay, the kid with bunny ears is going to be really kind of crapped on in this. No, Louise is honestly, I thought, and I shared this with the one, my coworker who watches the show. I said Louise's arc in this movie was very good, and she said the same thing. She's like, she's my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters, and they did her so well in this thing. You think the kid with the bunny ears is going to be the one who's getting teased, and she does get teased, but not by the family.
But they do something with it. Yeah.
They do something with it, and they come together. Like the whole family, like the 3 kids are like could easily be punching bags in their own
Mm-hmm.
way, but they're not. And they always come together. They even hang out at school together. And I just thought that was really, really sweet.
100%. Yeah, dude. Like comparing it to the Simpsons movie, where in like the whole basis of the heart of that film, the soul of that movie is the tension between Bart and Homer, because Homer is just a dick to Bart in the beginning of that movie, and then they make up afterwards. You're right. That actually I didn't even notice that. That's probably why I like these characters so. I fell in love with them right away.
There's no metaphorical redhead.
No, not at all. What, even though there's the literal pink head, and it's super fun to see them go on those adventures. And another fun thing, contrasting with Family Guy and Simpsons, is that it doesn't appear to really lean into its world too hard. Where it's like, hey, all these side characters are going to have their time in the sun. They're going to have their spotlights. And I could tell there were a couple of moments in Bob's Burgers where they had those moments, but for the most part, they keep it well within just the family solving a murder or trying to make money. And that's pretty much it. It's a light year a minute.
This is my my major complaint. I'm
Yeah,
for my
too.
one. This is my major complaint with this thing. And this is what I've asked even a couple people who know Bob's Burgers more. I said, do the characters never shut the hell up in the show? Like, nobody stops talking, not even for 2 seconds. Like the last time I remember, and the only thing is this movie's excellent. The only other movie that like really blatantly comes to mind where the characters don't shut the hell up and have to be talking every 2 seconds is Woody Allen's Annie Hall. That's the same thing. They don't stop. But this movie, it's even different. This is like, and this is why I wish Joe was here, because I think Joe would really get a kick out of this. The rap group Migos and their triple time flow. No. That's what it is, man. It's like every character has to vocalize every thought in their head.
Yeah.
You get one saying like, we should go down to the pier. Well, I don't really like going to the pier. My underwear's riding high. What are we going to do today down there? Hey, why are you still playing with that napkin thing? Well, that sinkhole is still over there. They don't stop talking. They vocalize every single thought in their head.
I'm talking abstractly here, but I think if you really dissected line by line, joke by joke, you could probably take out a fourth of like a quarter of all the words and jokes in this movie, like the lowest level jokes, the least important words, and that would be way more comfortable for me. That's a real mathematical, talking abstractly way of going about it. But you know what I mean.
It kind of leans itself to being a quality or quantity over quality problem,
which sucks
too.
because there's a lot of quality there that
there's
a
lot of quality here. But if you think about it truly, like some of the funnier lines, you wind up forgetting about them by the time the next scene rolls around.
No, honestly, that aside, and it's hard to put aside because it really sticks out for us, but really, I did enjoy this movie a whole lot. I was dying for more music, honestly, because this, I think music is half baked into the show. That's the vibe I get, kind of like how Family Guy does it, even more than Simpsons. And to me, that it gives the characters a lot of heart and a lot of fun. Even like the one big side character to this movie that's not the antagonist is, what's his name? Teddy. Yeah. He is super. He's just the most helpful dude. He's the friend and the neighbor that you want. He's like the only guy that goes to their shop at one point. And it's like, even the side characters are so lovable and so like awesome and helpful that honestly, if I had the time, I would definitely make time to go watch Bob's Burgers. And I'm sure, people are going to say like, skip the first season or something, or, kind of like how they do with Simpsons. But yeah, dude, I'm going to give my rating right now. I'm going to give this, just looking back on the feeling that I had with it, I'm actually going to be merciful and say 3 out of 4 stars for me. Right on the cusp of 2.5, because man, that's just the overstuffed with dialogue here. But I'm gonna be merciful because I'm kind of rooting for this to do well. I don't know if it's gonna break even. We don't know the budget for it. Wikipedia says it's made about just almost 17 million, which in the age of COVID for a Bob's Burgers movie, that's not too horrible, honestly. But yeah, 3 out of 4 stars for me.
Yeah, you know what? You're a little bit more merciful with me. I wrestled with this on the ride home, even too. I did. I wrestled with it on the ride home. I really didn't know what I was going to give it until I wound up sitting and writing the review. I give it 2.5 out of 4. It's a very kind 2.5 out of 4, and it's a 2.5 out of 4 where I wouldn't even mind seeing this again and maybe bump it up, or even probably better yet, because it'll be on streaming. It'll be on Hulu very soon because that's where the show lives. My guess, I think it's probably going to come to Hulu. I wouldn't even mind, and I plan on it this week and going forward because I don't have much of a life, is watching at least the first season and seeing if I gravitate towards it, and then going back and revisiting this thing. So it's a 2.5-star review, almost with an asterisk, but I have to ding it just because of the fact I can't shake the fact that how kind of fatigued I got by the third act, even though I really liked how it ended. And I liked almost, abrupt's not the right word, but it ends like a show does. It ends where it's like, the final wrap around and the come together, and then all of a sudden they're singing about burger buns shaking for each other, and it's the title cards. And I'm like, I enjoyed this. I'm like,
it's a great summer movie.
It is a really good summer movie. You're never mad at it for too long, even when it does start to fatigue you. It's not a movie you get really angry about, and it's not something that you're really going to hold a hostage. I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of this movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Which is more than I could say usually going in blind to something like this.
Yeah. The fact that it can stand on its own 2 feet as a movie without honestly, if someone watched the Simpsons movie without ever having watched the Simpsons, I don't think they'd have a good experience at all, because it's just overstuffed with tributes to itself, and it is a 2+ decades old thing. But definitely, I can see it with this.
For sure. It's also the first, Bob's Burgers movie is also the first PG-13 animated Disney movie since the Simpsons movie in 2007.
There you go.
I am super fun at parties.